Oh, the classic threesomes and the dinner party moment. I'm rewatching season 10, and wow, the women are absolutely unhinged. But let's be real, Denise was right. Discussing threesomes in front of your kids and their friends. Super inappropriate. I mean, some things just shouldn't be on the dinner table. That being said, Denise definitely overshared in other episodes too. She wasn't exactly shy when it came to spilling the tea, though to be fair, her kids weren't around for that. Still, how naive can you be to think your kids wouldn't eventually catch these moments on TV? Come on, Denise. As for Rinna, total flop as a friend. Denise had her back all season, and what did she do? Flip the script. Classic Rinna move. Now, I've always had a soft spot for Denise Richards. She's unapologetically herself, which is kind of refreshing. And let's be honest, she's a little wild. Hello, she was married to Charlie Sheen. She's fascinating. Out of all the Richards ladies, Kim, Kyle, and Denise, she's by far the most interesting. When you mention Denise Richards, people know exactly who you mean. Mention Kyle or Kim, and you're more likely to get a who outside of the Bravoverse. Any updates on Dorits' situation? Is she still living in the mansion, or has reality hit her yet? Oh, and any juicy gossip beyond what the show's giving us. And seriously, how is she going to keep up with her lavish lifestyle? The woman's practically drowning in designer bags, and I'm sure the bank's not exactly rolling in the dough to support that. And the whole homeschooling thing with her kids? Weird, right? Is this some new trend, or is it just her way of keeping the kiddos away from the drama of public school? Who knows? As for the divorce talk, well, spoiler alert, neither of them is actually planning to go through with it. PK can't afford to divorce her. He's practically neck-deep in debt, personally, professionally, you name it. Throw in possible child support, spousal support, and alimony. Yeah, not the kind of cash flow that makes a divorce feasible anytime soon. Dorits not looking to divorce PK either. In fact, she's holding out hope that maybe, just maybe, he'll want to work things out. No lawyer, no drama. She's just living her life the exact same way she always has, soaking in that storyline and hoping it plays out for the cameras. Look, I'm sure there are issues in their marriage, but let's be real, this whole thing reeks of for the show. PK did mention that Dorit wasn't as high maintenance when they first met. Translation: he's sick of seeing her spend a small fortune on clothes. The man's used to making money off other people, but now he's watching his own wallet burn up thanks to her shopping sprees. I wouldn't be shocked if he files before the 10-year mark hits, because that's when the real money starts flowing. Season 5 is a brutal ride for Kim. I'm about halfway through, just past the poker party from hell, but before the Amsterdam disaster, and things are already spiraling. Kyle's just given Kim the Brandy is bad news speech, and not long after, Brandy proves Kyle right in the least subtle way possible. She pulls Lisa Rinna aside and drops hints, very heavy ones, but not quite enough to get her kicked off the show, that Kim might not be able to stay sober. And that's when Lisa Rinna, in her usual tactless manner, embarks on her personal crusade to stage an intervention. It's painful to watch, especially when you remember how sharp and clear-headed Kim seemed at the beginning of the season. Now, it's hard to say if it was just one pain pill Kim took, and let's be real, it probably wasn't a Tylenol, considering it came from a cancer patient, so an Oxy or something similar wouldn't be out of the question, or if it was the overwhelming stress of her life starting to show. But the pressure is clearly getting to her. On top of that, the rumors and constant questioning surrounding her sobriety are only adding fuel to the fire. And the worst part? Kyle never handles Kim's struggles with any grace. She tries to stay neutral, but it's obvious that her need to save face keeps her from keeping things calm. And she ends up turning every heated exchange into a moment where she's embarrassed for herself. Meanwhile, Brandy? She couldn't care less. Honestly, she's just hanging around because she loves the idea of someone else being more of a mess than she is. But then there's Lisa Rinna, whose passive-aggressive mission is the nastiest of all. She seems to think that shaming someone into sobriety is the way to go, like she's the queen of interventions. It's gross. It's so tragic to witness Kim in this state, especially when we were just given a glimpse of how healthy and self-aware she could be earlier in the season. Remember Season 4's reunion, when Kim so candidly shared how much she missed the life and memories she lost to her addiction. She would have been better off leaving the show then, honestly. But of course, I'm only halfway through the season, and my opinions change with every episode, so who knows? Maybe I'll feel differently tomorrow. Oh, so you've just dipped your toes into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and already pondering who the richest was in Season 1? Well, brace yourself, because it's a bit of a messy contest, but let's dive in. You're right, obviously they're all rich. But when it comes to the absolute richest in Season 1, the obvious answer is complicated. Let's break it down, shall we? Adrienne Maloof's wealth is tricky to pin down. While she's undeniably loaded, a lot of her wealth is tied up in the family business, and the Maloofs seem to have a very cozy financial situation. I mean, they own a ton of stuff, from a basketball team to a casino to, well, everything in between. But here's the kicker. Generational wealth is a funny thing, isn't it? It doesn't always stick around forever, but when it does, it's hard to ignore. Her grandfather had a net worth over $1 billion, and her brothers? Close to that as well. So yeah, that's some serious old money power right there. But then there's Camille. Oh, Camille. Pre-divorce Camille. She might not have the same family legacy, but let's be honest. She had some seriously impressive real estate, and her ex-husband, Kelsey, probably had a net worth somewhere around $60 $100 million before the divorce drama began. The lady wasn't hurting, especially with the luxury of lawyers billing out the wazoo during her nasty split. And let's not forget, she's sitting pretty with all those expensive legal fees, because when you're that rich, the lawyers charge like they're on commission. So after all that, I'd say I'm still leaning toward Adrienne as the wealthiest. She was the third generation of a very successful family, and that kind of money doesn't just evaporate. But if we're talking about who had the better real estate and could really flash some cash in Season 1, yeah, Camille might edge her out there. But really, it's anyone's game. Can we talk about Garcelle questioning Dorits' robbery for a second? I mean, seriously. Imagine if Dorit did that to her, Garcelle would have a full meltdown. Is it just me, or does anyone else think this is a little ridiculous? It's not like the internet hasn't been buzzing with doubts about the whole thing. A ton of people still don't buy it. And honestly, I don't mind the questioning. But let's not pretend that PK's frustration isn't grounded in something real. His whole issue with Dorit's response and PTSD feels like it's because he knows it was planned, and he probably clued her in on that after the fact. Here's the thing, Garcelle knew people were questioning it. She knows she's got that voice of reason vibe and decided to be the one to say what everyone was thinking, even though they're too scared to say it out loud. Now, unpopular opinion time. The robber leaving the iPhone behind totally makes sense. It's not like iPhones are some treasure trove of cash. They're useless unless you can unlock them. Plus, they're basically government-issued tracking devices. The robber probably grabbed it in the heat of the moment to stop Dorit from calling the cops. But adrenaline's a funny thing, right? By the time he was walking out, he probably just forgot he even had it. Oh crap, I still have this thing. Boom, just leaves it at the gate. Not to mention, smashing it or tossing it in the pool would have just been more work. Robbing someone is not a calm, collected process. It's like the ultimate fight or flight mode. So yeah, we sit here and say, oh, I would have done this or that. But when it's actually happening, good luck thinking straight. But what really blows my mind is how everyone just adores Garcelle and never holds her accountable. Like, am I the only one who notices this? I don't even dislike her, she's a fine actress. But if she disappeared from the Housewives, I don't think anyone would be losing sleep over it. I was watching the latest episode of RHOBH, and it hit me. There's no way the show would be the same without Sutton and Garcelle. Sure, they can stir the pot and get themselves into hot water, Sutton especially, but that's exactly why their friendship stands out. During the episode with Sutton's mom, I realized just how real their bond is. Garcelle didn't hesitate to step up and talk to Sutton's mom to get the conversation rolling. She didn't care if RHOBH would like her for it. She just wanted Sutton to get the moment she needed, an honest, open talk with her mom. After Sutton had her emotional moment, which, by the way, Kyle and Garcelle totally eavesdropped on, Garcelle checked in with her. She genuinely wanted to know how it went, and then, in the most sincere way, told Sutton she was proud of her. I know I'm not explaining it perfectly, but that scene just felt real, something Housewives doesn't always manage. Their friendship always feels grounded, and Garcelle is the one who makes that clear. She'll call Sutton out when she's wrong or acting ridiculous, but she always has her back. She's not afraid to speak her mind in front of Sutton or the group, even if it means disagreeing with her, but she never lets anyone gang up on Sutton. She's just there, and it's nice. It doesn't feel like an alliance, which is how so many friendships on the show read. This one feels like a true friendship, and honestly, that's something RHOBH could use more of, especially since around season 6, when things started getting a bit more shallow. So, since I mainly watch RHOBH, I'm curious if anyone else sees other genuine friendships in any of the Housewife franchises. And hey, feel free to disagree with me or add to the conversation. I'd love to hear what you think about what makes a friendship real versus just a strategic alliance. I've got to say though, it's hard to think of many friendships across the franchises that aren't driven by some self-interest. I used to love Kyle and LVP, but well, we all know how that ended. Then there's Vicky and Tamara from OC. I thought they were the real deal at first, but they're constantly turning on each other. I'm holding out hope for Dorits and Boz, but Sutton and Garcelle, they're the real thing. Oh, and let's not forget Luan and Sanja from NY. Definitely real friends. Brandi versus Lisa. The whole Mauricio rumors and the suitcase debacle, who really did what here? Honestly, who knows, right? I couldn't help but wonder if Brandi was just flat out lying, or if Lisa genuinely pulled that stunt. It was one of those moments that had me torn while watching, and I've got to know what everyone else thinks. Here's my take. There's probably some truth to it. But knowing Lisa's sense of humor, it's clear it could have been a joke that Brandi just blew way out of proportion to stir up some drama. Classic Brandi move, right? For me, I honestly think Lisa probably mentioned it, but in a "I'm just kidding" way. Brandi was already so wrapped up in her own head about Lisa and everything going on, so anything Lisa did probably felt suspicious to her. I loved the early seasons of Beverly Hills, but watching Brandi burn every bridge in sight that season was brutal. She definitely wasn't the carefree, fun girl we used to see. It was just sad to watch her spiral. I'm rewatching season 2 of RHOBH, and wow, I get Lisa now way more than I did back then. Honestly, Kyle is the absolute worst. I get why Lisa told Taylor, "I'm not pretending to be your best friend, but if you need help, I'm here." It's like Lisa was setting up her offer, so it didn't come across as fake. By acknowledging that they haven't exactly been close, she's saying, "Look, I'm not doing this for the cameras or to make myself look good. Despite all the drama, I'm actually here for you." Then, in episode 11, Adrienne, Camille, and Kyle are all kind of implying that Taylor's lying, and Lisa's over here saying twice that she believes her. Lisa was really pushing for Taylor, which was a strong move. But honestly, I think Lisa also triggered Taylor. Lisa's a tough one. She's got this "I wear the pants" vibe in her relationship, and I totally get that. But on Taylor's side, I get it too. Lisa's biting sense of humor can come off harsh, especially when you've been in a toxic relationship like Taylor's. It's a lot harder to take snarky jokes when you've spent so much time being torn down by someone like Russell. Taylor might not have had the courage to stand up to him, but at least with Lisa, she had a chance to try. And honestly, I've always thought the same thing. It's frustrating that Lisa's kindness got twisted into her being funny when in reality, it was the exact opposite. Look, Lisa's no saint, but ever since she's been pegged as manipulative, people seem to think everything she does is calculated. There are definitely times when someone is just being kind without any hidden agenda. I mean, I remember Lisa offering for Taylor and her daughter to stay at her house while all the Russell stuff was going down. We didn't even see that scene, which is perfect because it means it wasn't about the cameras, it was just her being genuine. But of course, it came up later, so there's that. Oh, the drama. So, Catherine versus Faye in Season 6. Total showdown. Catherine brings up Faye's OG trial book at dinner, and I get why she's salty. Faye literally published a book saying that Catherine's ex-husband had an affair with Nicole Simpson and was buddies with OG back in the day. Imagine that, your ex gets dragged into a book, and you're not even given a heads up about it. If that were me, I'd be fuming too. And of course, when Catherine finally confronts her, Faye totally shuts down the conversation, brushing her off like it's no big deal. If Faye's writing wasn't a big deal, why is she refusing to talk about it? Yeah, sometimes holding a grudge is absolutely justified. Then there's Faye claiming she was best friends with Nicole Simpson, but the people who actually knew Nicole, like Catherine, are calling BS. They're saying Faye didn't know her nearly as well as she's claiming, and certainly not as long as Faye would have us believe. Oh, and don't forget Faye randomly dragging Marcus Allen into the mess, just to stir the pot even more. Classic Faye move, throwing people into the drama for absolutely no reason. Ah, these are the kinds of moments I live for on Housewives, when something real slips through the cracks, even if it's sandwiched between all the scripted chaos. Honestly, the past few episodes with Augusta have been a ride. Sure, there's a lot of polish in production, but you can't fake the dynamics that exist in a family. I said this somewhere else, but I really hope RHOBH's love language is roasting people the way she did Garcelle. It's a work of art. Honestly though, I want her to realize just how great of a friend she's been to Sutton. It's been refreshing to watch. She's also been surprisingly polite with people she's unsure about, like Kyle. There's something about RHOBH I get, and I get Sutton too. That's what makes their dynamic so interesting. It's messy, complicated, and totally relatable. On day 2, RHOBH casually told Garcelle she was beautiful. And let's be real, Garcelle's got height and stunning looks, so no wonder some people might feel a little threatened. Sure, RHOBH complimented Kyle first with a "you're pretty," but that didn't take away from the fact that the real compliment was saved for Garcelle. RHOBH wasn't all about herself, which, let's be honest, is rare on this show. Was she awkward? Absolutely. Was she emotionally cool though? Yep, but underneath all that, she was genuine. I think this trip's been a growth moment for both her and Sutton. As for RHOBH, I've warmed up to her. She's the type I'd always keep my eye on. Even though I still think she has a tendency to see the rest of us as the help when the cameras are off, I think her real struggle is just being emotionally closed off. But hey, I'm just glad Sutton got some peace from this trip, and maybe that's a win for both of them. Oh, is Kim Evier on time? Like, seriously, can someone point to a single instance where she showed up when she said she would? I'm currently on Season 2, Episode 18, and I can't deal with how she and Ken are consistently late. And of course, barefoot, for the catamaran ride. Kim, babe, you're really pulling the "I'm a Virgo, I'm always punctual" card. We couldn't even hear half of that, so who knows if you meant it. But sure, you're usually 5 minutes early. Yeah, we'll just pretend you didn't mean to say that with a straight face. Addicts and punctuality? Not a match. Every addict I've known is always running late because they're either busy with their habits before heading out or they're having a full-blown meltdown just trying to leave the house. But honestly, the cherry on top is when Adrienne and Paul thought it would be a great idea to fly Kim out to Sacramento for a football game. She showed up 8 hours late for the flight. Like, they were losing it at that point. And honestly, Kim was clearly in full-blown addiction mode during that whole ordeal, could barely keep her eyes open. And no, that's not just from alcohol. I really hope she's sober now, but I'm not holding my breath. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.